So next thing we actually want to do is, so right now, every time we make a change, we would have to go run npm run build, and then go back to our page and refresh. And yeah, there's a lot better way to do that because we can actually get some stuff set up where it'll actually kind of spin up a server that will actually auto-compile when you change stuff and refresh the page. So you get a much quicker development cycle when you're doing that. So in order to do that, there's a few more things we need to install, or some more npm packages. So first one we need is called Webpack dev server. So we're going to go npm install, and we're going to say this is a development dependency. So Webpack dev server. And this is actually going to provide our local web server that's going to allow us to auto compile, refresh everything as soon as we change files. So this is extremely important for developer productivity. Next thing we're going to get is something called Webpack dashboard. And this basically just makes the Webpack dev server build console look a bit nicer. So I'll show you without and with just to see. Next thing we're going to install is the clean Webpack plugin. What this basically is going to allow us to do is every time a new build happens, it's going to completely clear out our distribution folder, our build folder, and then start fresh. So you don't have to worry about stale files being left over. It's going to completely wipe the folder and then rebuild with your new website. And the final one we're going to have is the HTML Webpack plugin. And this is going to basically allow us to essentially use our own HTML file as a template, and then it's going to kind of inject or auto add the import logic or script logic for our JavaScript bundle. Okay, so we've got those now. So the first thing we need to do is actually set up a new script in our command here. So what we're actually going to do is we're just going to create one called start, and we'll say, yeah, we'll just call it start for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to call the Webpack dev server, and we're going to say what our entry point is. So it's going to be source / index.js, and then we're going to specify our config, which is going to be our Webpack config there. Yeah, and you'll notice now if I go and run that right now, it's not going to work because we do have to do some configuration steps. Actually, it might work, but we'll get some default settings. Yeah. Yeah, so we've got some default stuff set up here now. So if we go to localhost 8080, which is where that's running on, we're going to kind of get, it's almost like a file browser because we need to go and actually configure some stuff. So now we're going to go back to our Webpack config. First thing we're going to do is we're going to configure our dev tools. So we're going to use dev tool to enhance our debugging experience. So in this case, we're going to use inline source maps. These are very handy for debugging because it'll actually show you the actual code, not the kind of, it'll allow you to see the code as it is in your kind of project here instead of just seeing all the minified and optimized stuff that's Webpack is doing. Next thing we're going to configure is our development server. We're going to set the content base folder, path.join, and same thing, it's going to be our dir name dis. We're going to say where our content is going to be from. We're going to say to use compression. And just to show, we're going to override the port to 9000. And we're going to set hot to true so we can actually have hot code reloading. So this is going to be pretty cool because now what will happen is close this down, start this up again. Now we're hosting on port 9000. So we go over here we refresh, we can see it's no longer being reached, so we're going to go to 9,000 now. And you can see we still have a bit of work to do because we've got kind of like a preview of this folder still. So we've overridden the basically the root folder to the distribution folder, which has our main and test file. But we actually want our index.html to come up right away. We don't want to have to choose anything in here. So next thing what we're going to do is use some of those plugins we installed. So we're going to require those. So we're going to include the HTML Webpack plugin. HTML5 Webpack plugin. And we're also going to include the clean Webpack plugin. And then we're going to go add these as plugins down below. New clean Webpack. So we'll clean our folder every time we build. And then we're going to use the HTML Webpack plugin to basically allow us to have a template HTML file. And there we go. So we configured those two. Let's restart our dev server here. So we're going to go back, and now what will happen, we go back here, boom, now we go straight to our website. And now the nice thing is, if I go back here, make a change, so let's say we change this from an H1, let's get a bit fancy, let's put a div in here, whoop, and let's put an unordered list with, let's say, 3 LIs. So 1, oops, 2, 3. As soon as I save and go over, automatically refreshes, and we got 1, 2, 3. And you'll see here the console for the actual build process is it's fine, but what we can actually do is there's this nice plugin that I like to use. It's the Webpack dashboard. Very simple to enable too, so we'll enable that just to show you what it looks like. So we're going to create a new Webpack dashboard plugin. So now if we cancel that and restart. Oh, actually, sorry, we missed one step. So we need to go back to package. We actually need to call the Webpack dashboard in our start command. And then that in turn is going to call Webpack dev server. So it's basically just a wrapper around the dev server with a nicer interface. So now if we start this up, you can see it's quite nice. So you've got kind of a log of what's going on here. You've got the progress bar, what's going on, the build status, some information around here, and that kind of thing. So it's very nice. And same thing, we go back here. And one thing I want to point out about the source maps before we end this video is, let's say I do a console.log. Let's just say hello here. So let's go back to our website. We gotta restart this. So we've got our hello here. Whoop. Yeah, there we go. So if I click on this, you can see I've got a very nice representation of my code up here right now. But what will happen is if I actually disable the inline source map, so if I get rid of this parameter, restart my build tool, or Webpack, I mean, rebuild the site. Now we go back. Now you'll see what will happen. So now, notice the line number change, and also if I go into here, I'm getting a bunch of kind of pre-optimized and it's a lot harder to kind of tell what's going on in here right now. So that's what the benefit of source maps are in web development, or in here. Yeah, so now if we go back, Boom, there we go. We've got our nice formatted code over here now. Yeah, so that's it for this video. So the next one, so in this one we've set up our initial project. We've got Webpack configured for JavaScript files. We've got our Babel configured, and we've kind of got our entry point for the Asteroids application. Next video, we're going to actually start building some of the components that are going to be part of our game. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next episode. Thanks.